Shit, all right, man.
What's good, bro?
We're here, dude.
Glad to
Finally.
connect.
Finally. What's been
That's it.
good?
Man, just doing a lot of projects. Was traveling for a little while.
Yeah.
Back here and just locking in Tampa. Just focusing on doing as much work as I can in this area. Editing, putting out more content of myself, just giving more advice, trying to re-strategize and pivot a little bit with how I want to run my business.
Like pivot in what direction?
Do more brand strategy.
Mm-hmm.
I want to do more brand strategy and development because I love DPing, I love directing, editing, I love all that, but I want to be able to create income online or anywhere in the world. So I just want to add that element to what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm. I like that. I'm in the same direction. I love brand work because brand work is, you get so much more invested. You know what I mean? Like you can do all kinds of work and sometimes you're invested in every project in a sense, but when you really like partnership with a brand and you work with them to actually grow and scale and you come part of their vision, you build their vision, there's just such a bigger, deeper like investment and connection. And that's what I love. Like I want to grow with a brand. I don't want to just be like a pit stop for a client to come, do work with, and they go on their way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. And I don't mind the whole pit stop thing, but if you are like, okay, like let's do it big. Let's make it a great shoot. Let's do something that has a legit budget.
Mm-hmm.
But for the brands that want to grow and they give me that creative vision, creative direction or freedom, I love working with those brands, the ones that trust me. And I think that's
the best.
That's my ideal client.
Yeah. That's the same. Yeah, I have a client right now where it's like, it's just a dream situation. Like they have a project. We had a very rough vision, but we were so like locked in with thinking exactly the same. We really didn't know how this project was even going to unfold. We just kind of like winged it, and they had full creative belief in us because I think they really got the fact that we understood what they wanted. And it was a shoot that at first, like I was talking to Rob, I was convinced it was going to be a disaster. I'm like, this is going to be the worst shoot of the year because we're so underprepared. I don't know what the fuck we're even doing. Turns out to be like their favorite shoot of the year. Now it's one of my favorite projects I'm editing. And the client is literally just like, you got the vision, go do your thing, come back. And when I come back with the videos, they're blown away. Like they don't make changes. Like it's wild. It's unbelievable.
When you said winging it, like in your definition, like what is winging it? Like how much did you guys prepare before you shot? Or in your terms, what's winging it?
I mean, so winging it is like, we had a vision of what we want to do with this video. We had the brand idea, which was the world is yours, the smile is ours. There's so much behind that, but it set the general tone for what we're doing with these videos. We want to break boundaries of what is expected, and we really just like, we didn't really know what the fuck we were going to talk about. We didn't know how we were going to edit the videos. We weren't entirely sure what the videos were going to even be about, like topics and and we didn't know. We just know like, hey, we want to sit people down. We want to talk about their lives. We want to document it, and all these videos together have to align with this vision. Everything else other than that was totally like wing. Like we had a shot list. Like we'll go get B-roll of them, in the studio making music and this and that. But like, if you compare it to where the project is now, the tone of the editing and the storytelling and what each video is actually about, and there's 7 chapters that are all in order unraveling the story. Like none of that shit we thought of ahead of time. It only happened after when we film the content. We look at it, we're like, oh, this is what we can do with this project. So that's good and bad in some projects. Like some projects, if you wing, you're just going to end up with a fucking mess of incoherent stuff that just doesn't make any sense. Other times, if you have a vision that is your foundation, you can then wing it, create the content, and then decide afterwards how you want to tell the story. It's hit or miss. It's really a judgment thing.
Do you prefer before or after being able to tell a story? Like you script out mainly everything though when you're
like a lot of the times we'll like if we're doing a brand video or a company video, I'll dive very deep into here's every single message this brand wants to communicate. Here's how we're going to communicate it. Here are things to avoid. Here are things we want to show visually. Like things are very mapped out, but when it comes to the editing, things always change and evolve naturally a little bit. And most of the time for the better. But I like to be pretty prepared because what I hate is going to the editing room and then seeing opportunities that you missed because you didn't think of it ahead of time. Like, damn, if I would have got this shot or we would have got him saying this, it would have made the video completely different. I hate seeing that. And sometimes when that happens, I'll go back and shoot it because I'm like, fuck, we have to get this. Like, this is going to change the whole video. So I like winging it. It feels great when everything comes together, but
Facts, yeah.
I would rather be prepared.
Yeah, same
You know?
here. I know you said, so you opened the studio in 2016.
Yeah.
How did you get into, like, so I've been, obviously, I've followed you for a while now. Now we finally get to connect. What has been like, what were the reasons you started film, or how did you get into film?
I got into filming through skateboarding.
Okay.
I just started making videos with friends. And I quickly just found, like, I love fucking, like, envisioning something in your mind, and then you see it actually happen in real life through the use of film, and then you see the footage, you're like, holy shit, I envisioned that. So just the feeling of creating, man, it stuck with me. And now I was like, I got to do this the rest of my life. Like, I can't do anything else. I love to create.
Wait, so before you opened the studio, like, how long was that when you started filming with skateboarding?
Oh, I got into skateboarding when I was filming skateboarding when I was 14.
Okay.
I opened the studio when I was 21. So there's a big gap of me filming skateboarding, did music videos, did nonprofit work, started doing commercials. I did short films. So yeah, there was a huge gap. And even when I first started the studio, I didn't really know what my brand was. Motion State Media was just a company that would take on any video work and any photo work.
And now what are you guys focused on mainly?
Yeah, so, and what happened was in 2017, we were doing a lot of corporate work. And it was easy money, you know, easy work. But I just found myself fucking hating what I was doing, dude. You know, I'd come in and I'm filming talking head videos, and I hated it. I dreaded going into work, and it took me back to when I'm working like minimum wage, packing boxes, that same feeling of I don't want to go into work. So I had to reevaluate everything. I'm like, this is not where I want to take the company. And that's when I rebranded, started turning down work, mapped out a game plan of how to draw in the kind of work we wanted, which is commercial and advertising and branded type work. Specifically, that's more leaning towards very creative kind of stuff. So I had to make that pivot, man. And it cost me a lot of money at first. It was a risk, but ultimately that's kind of where we ended up now.
That's good, man. That's good.
You know?
I feel like everyone goes through those phases where it's like, oh, I remember like, so I started with still photography. People are like,
So I was going to say, I feel like I discovered you when you were in your photography era. Then I noticed slowly over time, you started diving into more video work. And I knew of you as first a photographer, but now you're a DP. Now you're a filmmaker. That's kind of what happened, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. And just so probably like 8-9 years ago, my mom gave me one of her old cameras, like a Canon T3i or something, and went back to college, left it in my dorm room, fiddled with it a few times, and the photo came out as overexposed. One time it was just black, and I was like, all right, like, what the hell with this?
Yeah.
I saw a cool picture on Instagram from one of my friends. It was like a long exposure photo with like a car driving on a windy road, and I was like, how'd you take that photo? Like, what camera did you use? And he had the same camera my mom gave me. So I'm like, wait, I can do the same thing? So I figured, at first I was trying to do the shot, and I was like, it wasn't working. I was like, wait, I need a tripod. I need to do the long exposure. I didn't know you needed that. So I was Googling ISO, aperture, like how to figure out the camera. And once I figured that shot out, it was just like, damn, this shit's fun. And I just started shooting my friends in school and portraits. And then one day a girl gave me like $40 to do portraits. And I was like, yo, this was the easiest money I ever made. Like, I just made money having fun. And that just started the domino effect of like, okay, if I made 40, I can make 80. I made 80, I can make 160. And it just grew from there to the point where I was making more money than my 9 to 5 I was working in school.
Yeah.
So the still photography was just doing street photography, capturing like moments. And I had an opportunity to film in Tampa at a fitness facility. And they asked me if I did video. And I wasn't doing video at the time. And I was like, no, but I'm going to learn. So that's what inspired me to learn, was like, I was underqualified for a position, but I'm like, all right, I'm gonna teach myself how to do it. Taught myself Premiere Pro that week, edited a video, sent it to them. They're like, you're hired.
Just threw yourself into the uncomfortable and figured it out.
Yeah, and that's just like, I just started to realize video is a lot more valuable than photography, and then I was able to use my eye with photography for composition, framing, how to like.
Because they go hand in hand, for sure.
They go hand in hand.
Yeah.
And I was like, if I can just achieve the same look in my photos that I do in videos, that'll just be a whole new way I can, generate revenue with my work.
So to backtrack, your mom gave you your first camera?
Yeah.
So is she like a huge part of where you are today? Like, was she very supportive?
Yeah, everything I did, she supported me.
Yeah.
Same. Everything.
Yeah, I mean, my mom asked me, I forget what age I was young. She's like, what do you want to do with your life? And I was like, I want to open up a film studio. I think I was like 18, 19 or 20. I don't know, but like she was like, okay, like let's do it, you know. And she was there. I mean, ever since I was 14, she bought me my first camera. She was 100% so supportive every step of the way. And yeah, that's important, man. If your parents don't understand what you want to do in life, it makes it so much harder.
It's hard, and
you know?
Just having that backbone. Like my mom gave me the camera. My dad actually bought me my first like nifty 50 Canon lens from Best Buy, like $100.
Yeah.
So it's like having that support is so valuable. And I think now it's just like everyone wants to be creative. And back then when I was starting, it was kind of weird. Photography wasn't what it is now. It was like, oh, you're just taking pictures and stuff. It wasn't like,
there was such a weird like stigma on photographers.
Yeah.
Like not like in the sense like I don't feel like people really took photographers serious. It wasn't
that's
a
the word.
respected profession.
Yeah, it wasn't. And I realized I saw the value in it, but the people I was working with, like the clients that were paying me on retainer, I started to see they didn't like, oh, everyone can take a picture.
Yeah.
I can just do it with my phone. But now once you see like how valuable it is when you're trying to communicate to your audience, you need to show what you're doing. And I feel like now people realize like, okay, damn, these content creators are valuable. These are the people I need to know.
It's true. Yeah. Rob and Wes just talked about that. Like at a certain level in this industry, everyone can pretty much operate the same level, performance and skill wise. Like, I mean, it's not hard to get to a level of where we're all at. And I mean, it's not that it's not hard, but like a lot of people are there. But what separates you from the other guy that knows exactly how to film and can compose things the same and his understanding of lighting and all these technical factors is like your decision making, your eye, how do you handle certain situations, the decisions you make, your taste, your expertise, like all of those things is really what is valuable. You know what I mean? Like any one of us could pick up right now and frame it a beautiful shot and probably light it amazingly. And to the normal people, like maybe one of us might be better, but to like the normal person, they might not see that difference. But what they will see is the difference when they see the bigger picture of like, how do we tell the story? How does it unravel? All these little decisions we made in the process, you know?
It's so true.
So
I agree. And that's why like I've always been passionate about the branding side of things, like not just the content side, but like the graphic side, like the fonts, just how the whole visual presence of a brand. And I feel like I kind of boxed myself in as like the photographer, the videographer, the filmmaker, and I'm starting to realize like even though I have those other skills, I have to position myself in a new way to where people see that we have that bigger vision. Like you have that bigger vision. People know you know, as a director, but when they actually meet you and talk to you, they realize like, oh, Cam knows like what we're trying to do. It's not just like, let's make a great video. It's like, how can we make a great video and use that to drive sales, use that to connect with the audience.
Yeah, exactly. It's like what you and I talked about. It's literally breaking the boundaries of what people expect you to be. Like, I'm not just a DP. I'm not just a photographer. Like, I am a creative mind, you know, and if you really make people realize that, they will value so much more.
That's why I like Kanye. That's why I like Kanye, because he's a musician, but he's a fashion designer. He's, what else? Shoe designer.
Yeah, so I think he is one of the very first people that broke that boundary of like, he's not just a musician. Yeah. He's not just a business person, because there's always been business people and musicians, but like he really broke that boundary of like, no, don't call me a musician. I'm not an artist. Like I am a whatever, you know, whatever he wants to call himself nowadays, visionary, genius, whatever. Like it's true in my opinion, you know, to be able to expand your horizons and just break boundaries of what people think you are, despite what they think.
What would you say is like the biggest challenge for you with growing your production company in like Clearwater? Because most people would think like, oh, you got to be in Tampa.
There's no difference because we have clients all over the world. We have clients in Tampa, we have clients in Europe, we have clients in just about every major continent, you know, at this point.
Nice.
It doesn't matter where you are, it just matters what your vision and your intelligence, like the vision for your brand and the ability to navigate your way through the industry and climb the ladder. You know what I mean?
So then why did you want to make a studio? Opening up, was that just because you wanted a studio?
Yeah, I mean, back then, you know, 9 years ago, I thought a studio is what you needed. Like, that's a place where you can film things. That's a place for people to work. That's a place for, you know, I wanted And not a lot of people had studios then. There were freelancers and people like that. And at the time, that was just my selling point, to make a destination for people to come, and something that we have that others didn't. And that still holds true to this day. Like, there are massive brand projects that we do that require a studio. And it makes us a preferred candidate when shopping, because it's like, these guys have a studio. We don't have to go rent studios. We don't have to go shop. You know, if we're building sets and doing all these product campaigns, they got it. So it still holds true to this day. You know, there is a huge value in having a studio. But yeah, it's a balance, man. Everything, you know, things are filmed out on location. Things are filmed in the studio, but there's a time and place for everything.
Would you prefer a studio or on location? Or
On location, always.
Yeah?
Yeah, and on location always, and that's why, like, I'm not jumping on this volume, this LED volume wave. I think it's beautiful, and I think it's going to be extremely helpful when done right, but there's nothing like the real. There's nothing like a real location, man, and like how real lighting interacts with your talent, and just things in the foreground and the background, and just textures, and like, it's beautiful, man. I love studio work too. I love building sets in studio, but on location.
I'm the same. Are there certain, or like, who are the DPs that inspired you, or like a certain style? What would you say is like
it's tough,
the biggest impact on how you wanted to tell stories?
I've never been one to like follow and make a list of DPs and references that I like to look. It's more so just a style that I look up to, and that's always been handheld and raw. You know what I mean? Like, sure, I get it. I love some solid static push in, crane, very smooth, solid movement sometimes. But I've just always been a fan of handheld, man. I want to immerse the audience in the scene. I want them to feel like they're there. And there's nothing like filming handheld, because it's like, when you film handheld, you are becoming part of that camera. That camera is seeing and feeling what you as a person are moving and feeling. Like, you're literally holding it.
You're right.
How your head and your arms and everything, like, you're literally one with that camera, and you can immerse yourself in filming a scene so much. And when people watch it, like, just, I mean, I would rather do a handheld push-in any day of the week than a dolly push-in. That's just my preference. It makes it feel like this is real. So my style has always just been real, organic, obviously mixed with produced looks, but just, I like to just tell, just immersion, like, that's it. You know, I want people to, I don't ever want them to feel disconnected from what they're watching.
I feel
you
that.
know.
I love the handheld look. I mean, partly because that's in the beginning, that's all I could afford was the handheld. So I figured out.
Same, and I feel like you and I probably got really good at it, because that's literally all we had.
Yeah, like I mastered handheld. Well, I feel like I mastered handheld because I've had to do it so much, and just traveling and being in like, and I always wanted to have like that smooth dolly and stabilizer look, but then I started to realize, like, I mean, I could still make something look beautiful handheld, and then I started to fall more in love with it, and try to just understanding the balance of when to use handheld and when not to.
Yeah,
and how
because
you can combine.
there's times where you shouldn't. You know, it's like you can't go overboard with the handheld look. There's a time and place, and sometimes it will not. Maybe you have a particular audience that it might nauseate them. It's just not the time and place. You do need that smoother, you know, that smoother feel, you know. But yeah, that's just, then like I said, that's a taste thing. Like, a lot of people can shoot handheld really well, but it's knowing, should I tilt the camera and move when the talent is moving, and have this like in beautiful harmony and sync. Like, when I shoot music videos, or I used to, I love handheld, man, because I will literally move that camera to the song. Like, when the cymbals hit and the crash hits, I'm tilting that camera. Like, I am moving that camera, and I'm operating it to be perfectly in sync with the performer's energy, their movement, the music, like, everything, you know. And there's a bunch of people that can operate maybe better than I can. They might be able to pull focus better than I can, maybe hold it better, frame things better, but like, are they going to make the decisions that I can make in the moment that are really going to affect how this image looks?
And like, what are some of those decisions you would say, like, in the moment where you have to, like?
I mean, like I said, it's just it's camera movement, knowing when and what to show at what time, knowing how to move the camera so it's in harmony with what's going on. Like, too many people go into autopilot, and they just move the camera because they think it looks good, and they think that it's what needs to be done, but they aren't reading the room, they aren't reading the situation, they aren't reading the scene, they aren't aligning themselves with the energy of what's happening. And that's when it creates disconnect of, like, you have a scene that's supposed to be building tension, or it's very energetic, or it's eerie, or you want the audience to slowly come in it, and if the cinematography and the camera movement isn't aligned with that, it doesn't hit the same.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's very hard to explain without pulling up examples and showing it, but it's yeah, I mean, that's why my heart is always going to be in just camera operating. Like, I do so much shit now, but my heart is always like just picking up the fucking camera, framework, lighting, and figuring out how are we going to unravel this scene. Like, that's still my favorite.
So with that, like, do like your clients, the majority of your clients, do they let you just have a creative vision, or they're like, hey, this is what we want to do?
Pretty much, okay. Yeah. When I first meet a client, we'll ask them, we'll just say, hey, listen, let's do a discovery call. I want to make sure we're a good fit. Because if I don't believe in the vision that the clients have, then I won't jump on board. Because like if myself and my team can invest in this project, we're not going to deliver the best we can.
Even if they have the budget.
Yeah, even if they have the budget. I mean, I've turned down $20, $30, $40, $50, $60,000 jobs because I could just tell this isn't going to work. Like, I've been down that road of doing things for money, and that landed me in a position where I didn't like going to work anymore. I didn't like doing what I do. So, yeah, I mean, a $50,000 job comes around every now and then, and it's just stuff that I know we're not aligned with. Like, this is not going to work out, and I'll still go along with it, you know, I'll try and close it, but I'm not hungry, and that makes a difference. Like, when you're trying to close a client and you're not hungry to close them, you're probably not going to close them. You know, like, sure, I'm going to get on a call with them, talk to them, I'll give them a quote, but I'm not eager.
Yeah, I get it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, when clients come to us, typically they just have an idea and they'll ask us to build upon it. And that's just the creative vision, the direction, and writing the script and how we pretty much approach it and execute it. And other times people do have a full-on vision, and I'll just kind of come on and consult them and say, hey, this is how we can make it better. This is what I would do. This is how we can make it maybe a little bit more coherent. But yeah, I mean, anytime you're an artist and you have creative freedom and creative control, and somebody that trusts in you is the best.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Those are always the best projects, even if they're not the highest paying. But when you're when you can have your vision, you can implement your creativity, and the client's not like, what are you doing? What are you doing? They just trust you and they let you do. Like, and it's funny because some of my biggest shoots, like, I had 2 $15K budget shoots from one client, and it was in a span of like 5 or 6 months. But they gave me creative vision on all those projects, and then there'd be a project that was like a $2,000 budget, and they're like over my shoulder, like worried about every.
Isn't that weird how that works?
Yeah, and it's almost like the bigger the client, the more like trust and freedom I was given.
Yeah, I mean, I think that also has to do with money. With there's clients they have marketing budgets that they're very pressed about and tight about. They are going to want to micromanage and really make sure that they are getting what they want with that money. I think that just naturally comes when you involve finances.
True.
And also some clients might just be a little bit more particular. But yeah, I mean, I've had huge jobs that we did, you know, 5-figure plus jobs where they're just like, listen, this is what we want. Just however you want to make it happen, do it. And we did, and those are the best jobs, man. 100%.
100%. What was there like a certain breakthrough moment where you're like, yeah, I'm about to be like great in film production, or like did you know when you're like, yeah, this is my career?
I mean, I knew I wanted to do it my whole life when I started doing it through skateboarding. I'm the kind of person that's very hard on myself all the time, and I'm never satisfied with where I am in life, what I've produced, really anything. The only moments I ever feel true like accomplishment and like, man, I am good at this is when I finish an edit sometimes and I just see how 4, 5, 6 months of work and ideas and everything comes together to make that final product, and all the decisions I made and all like the mysteries that were solved, and I just see the final product and I'm like, shit, man, like this is why I love doing what I do, and fuck, I am kind of good at this, you know, like those are the only moments. And then a week later I forget about the edit, I'm on another project, we're in pre-pro, and I'm like, fuck, man, like and it's back to just writing myself about, I got to figure out how to do this the best I can, you know.
I feel that.
But yeah, I mean, it's just seeing the product, man. That's why I fell in love with this shit in the first place, is seeing the product that you envision. So when I see that product that came from a vision, those are the moments that make me feel like, damn, you know.
When these are the majority of your clients, is it more like just bigger commercials, or do a lot of your clients want like that retainer work?
Yeah, it's both. It's both. Yeah, like we We had a 7-month contract with a home service company last year that does like AC work, irrigation, landscape lighting. I'm going blank, but they did everything. You know, they had all these different branches, and we did a video a month for them. It was smaller kind of stuff, very run and gun. So we do stuff like that. That is very run and gun, very basic. I can write a script for it in 20 minutes tops. They love it. Takes a few hours to edit.
I wanted to ask you about your script writing process, because I saw you post in your story a few times, like your storyboards.
Yeah.
Like those are super, like you're drawing those, or is that like?
No, so other Cameron Miller, who also directs, his first passion was art. So he's an amazing artist. Like he can draw anything. So we'll literally sit down, I have the script, and I will tell him how I envision each shot, and he'll write it, or he'll draw it.
And it looks like...
It's amazing. Yeah, he's definitely the best storyboard artist I've ever worked with. And he's not even an official storyboard artist. He just does it because he likes to do it.
You do that, though, like that whole aspect? The client's already locked in, confirmed. They've already paid you by the time he's drawing that?
Yes.
Okay.
So, yeah, in the discovery phase with the client, I'm very careful about developing and giving... too much IP, like too much intellectual property, and
like how far do you go before? Because that's what I'm trying to like work on. I don't want to give too much sauce, but I want to like give them enough to where they can see the vision.
Typically, what I'll do is, it really depends, man. I'll get on a call with some clients and we just connect, and there might be a person that I would love to just talk with for an hour about everything and anything, and that happens sometimes. Other times it's a little bit more formal, and they just want me to put together a formal proposal of how I see their project unravel, how we're going to approach it. And sometimes I will write a general, very basic treatment. I won't get too into detail, but I'll say, hey, we're going to make a video that follows X person, this talent, or it's going to follow your employees, or we're going to tell this kind of story, we'll approach it this way. But it's not anything that is, if they stole it, I'm going to be pressed about, but it is something I try and give them just enough where they can understand and appreciate that we have a different approach about things.
Makes sense.
And then once a contract is secured, that's when I unlock the juice and I dive in, and we develop.
Makes sense. All right.
Yeah.
I feel like that's how it should be though, because it's like you can't. It's that fine line between like giving too much information, but I feel like if the client loves your idea, at the end of the day, they're gonna remember it. They're gonna remember you, and they're probably gonna come back to you. At least that's from my experience.
Totally. Yeah. It's once you sign the contract and you give me the down payment, like we're 110% committed to whatever that client, like we're not holding back on anything, and I think that's the way it should be. And a lot of people, once they do get that contract signed, they still try and hold on their clients. They still, a lot of people will not go the extra mile for their clients because they're like, well, they're only paying me for this, or I'm only getting paid for this, or they should have been paying me more. Whatever it is, like, you got to get that shit out of your mind, dude. Like, if you're not getting paid what you want to get paid in the first place, that's your fault. It's not the client's fault. The client's paying you. They accepted your proposal.
True.
It's time to let go whatever shit you have and just commit yourself to that client, because clients can tell when you are holding back and you're not invested, or you come at it with a very arrogant, entitled attitude where it's like, if you want this little change, I'm going to charge you extra. Like, there's a lot of clients that are production companies that are very picky about, they won't provide any service that's not paid for an additional. And I think that there's a fine line between not getting taken advantage of, and there is a time and a place to charge a client more. But like, man, just suck it up, dude. Like, making that change that's going to take 15 minutes of your day, bro, go make that change for the client. It's going to be okay. Like, you don't need to say, pay me more.
Fact.
Like, it's gonna be all right. Now, are they run you through the ringer and you got to spend hours recreating something or re-editing? I got it, but it's like, dude, like, if you do not go all out for your clients and give them everything that you can, and just get rid of any selfish, lazy entitlement, like, you have to get rid of that if you want to retain clients.
Facts. I had a quote that I like to live by. It's like, you got to go out of your way. If you want it to be your way, it's the only way.
100%.
Like, I feel like if you want to get the shoots that are gonna pay you the high end shoots, like, you're gonna have to work on smaller shoots, but do those to the extra mile.
Yeah.
There were shoots that I didn't even make money on, but I knew, okay, if I hire, like even Rob, I did shoots with Rob and Jan and other people where I didn't have to hire them, but I knew it would add value to the shoot.
Value his growth as a team, and dude.
That's the mindset I've tried to always have, is bring people on board that are more experienced than me
Yeah.
to add more value to the shoot, more value to the end product. And that, like the final video being better, is that investment towards something bigger. And I feel like a lot of creators should
Absolutely.
move in that way and realize this shit not going to happen overnight. Like,
That's been one of our biggest secrets. I'll never say what shoots they were, but there are shoots that we have done. I looked at and said, this is an amazing idea, concept. We have a chance here to make a video that looks like a $30,000 video,
Exactly.
and we're getting paid $5,000. So I'm gonna go out of my way, take a hit, pay shit out of pocket to get as many crew as I can, so we can do the best job we can. Because one, I want to make a great video for this client, but also if I make a video that looks like it was $30,000, that's going to open up the door for the video that is $30,000.
exactly.
You know what I mean? And so the times I've done that, it's opened up so many doors for us.
Yeah,
100%.
That's like a hack where it's just like you gotta go out of your way, like. But like it doesn't. You don't have to look at it as going out of your way. It's like building a house, and once it's built, boom, you have this to show for it. Yeah, it's
yeah.
there.
I mean, listen, dude. There's sacrifices that you have to make in this industry if you want to get where you want to go. That's just it.
Especially in Florida and Tampa.
Yeah.
We're not in Los Angeles.
You know, but I feel like we got it easier here, man. It's less saturated.
That's true.
It's less saturated. There's just a different approach here, you know, and I would hate to be a creative in LA trying to fucking make it.
Yeah, it's
I
a whole
would.
different. Like it's like in LA though. It's like you gotta do it how you can. Like you might be a grip.
Yeah.
You might be a PA and doing all these different things. Here you have like you could buy a camera. You could really start your own production company.
Yeah.
And be that. You don't have to just work on sets, which is great too though. But
Yeah, it's true. It's true. All right, I got to show you on this red thing.
yeah,
So-
show me.
So we shot with the red.
I had to make the trip.
Okay, so check this out. This is
Bro,
fucking nuts, dude.
That's how one of my
Just look at
trips
the
to Colombia
shadows in her
went.
hair.
Hated that.
Oh, it's this shoot.
Yeah. Now you couldn't see it on social media, but
That's when it was like a scene.
why is a $50,000 camera shooting at 6K, shooting at below 400 ISO, also its native ISO, which is 800, perfectly exposed and lit, like nothing weird. Shutter speed isn't cranked. There's not, or the shutter angle isn't cranked.
Yeah,
None of that, right? Why are we getting distortion and noise and all these kind of weird fragments in the shadows to where it looks worse than like a $2,000 camera? And what
Yeah, that
happened
is
is,
strange.
I'm like, I'm asking this question, and the DP I'm working with is like,
That's strange.
at the time, I'm like, why is this happening? Like, this is not supposed to happen. And the DP's trying to tell me, it's like, well, it's because we're shooting at 6K. I'm like, and? I don't care. Like, that doesn't make sense. Like, and then come to find out as we learn, it's if you don't shoot an 8K on that camera, the fucking sensor falls apart. And this got proven when the next shoot we did, I'll show you a screen grab. We shot at 8K, which is its native resolution or whatever.
It was like Sunshine's budget.
We shot it, it's crazy. We shot at 8K, it is native resolution, and now look at the shadows in the hair. And this is nighttime now, outside, in worse lighting. There's not one speck of noise in the
No.
shadows. It's as clean as it can be. So I was just like, that's nuts, bro. Like, it's not practical to shoot everything in 8K. There's so many issues. There's so many issues with red.
6K. I'll take the 4K all day.
Yeah. So
Yeah, it looks way better. Like 10.
anyway, so that's
tenfold.
that. And then there was always something wrong with the camera. Like, always something wrong, some little problem. It just was fucking infuriating. And I really realized it when we started shooting with the Komodo, and I'm getting the same quality and the same performance and the same level of shots and pushing the camera in stressful situations as I was getting with the $55,000 helium. Like, I could not tell the difference. I really could not tell the difference. Like, we shot a music video in all low light, and I'm like, this is crazy. So Red is what it is, and they have failed to continue to develop and to create new things with their cameras. Like, they keep dropping new cameras, and it's always something that people never asked for. They don't address the problems that people want. They keep giving us new shit that they don't want. So,
Oh, okay.
did you get the food?
I've
It's
never.
been sitting out there, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know they
Yeah.
really dropped it.
Yeah. So that's my issue with Red,
Oh.
is that they just fell behind. It's like Apple. But the problem is Apple has us in a chokehold because there's such a monopoly. It's like, what are you going to do, go to Android?
Yeah.
No,
Apple's-
Red, it's like, what are you going to do? Go to the many other cameras that are better? Yes, we are.
True.
You know, they just started recreating cameras that were incredibly redundant and repetitive and just losing its value and yeah. Anyways, man, so fucking wrap this thing up, dude. Yeah, so I want to talk about you. So I love your work.
Thank you.
What stood out to me about your work is, like Rob and myself and you, I think we share a very similar taste in cinematography, which I love. But it's how you tell your stories. That's what I love. Like when I saw that your traveling video, I think it was it Jamaica or Africa? It was the thing where it just opened up with you explaining how you got there.
Haiti. Yeah.
Love that, bro. Like I love telling stories, how you tell them. It's so immersive. It's so engaging. It's so different. I love the like modern incorporation. I love where videos are going now with sound design, sound FX, and hearing what's happening in the video. It just immerses the audience like so much. So yeah, kudos to you, bro. Like I love your style. I love your editing. But most importantly, I really like how you storytell. So
appreciate
that. Where are you trying to go from here?
Yeah, I mean, my ultimate goal, I would love to be making feature films or documentaries.
Docuseries is what's really got me interested right now.
Like that's like so someone that I looked up to that inspired me and I loved how they told stories was Anthony Bourdain.
Okay.
But like I love Food Network, I love watching travel shows. So for me, it's like, okay, I always thought, how can I be different? How can I stand out? And I know I've traveled a lot and I have that opportunity. So telling just unique stories in different parts of the world, that's really what would be ideal to me.
It's exciting, right?
That's like, now finding clients that can pay that is a tricky part, but
it is. There's definitely less of a market for that. But it's like
there is a market for it.
There's a market, or it's also like, do you grind out, you know, the work that is more easily accessible to get, make up some money to then fund your passion projects of traveling the world too? That's also an option. That's
the strategy I've done. Is like, okay, I know the corporate clients are going to pay. They're going to have a certain budget, and that can fuel my travel work.
Yeah.
And then that's where I came to the realization, okay, I can do brand strategy. I can help brands in different ways through my experience within video production. Use video as the vehicle for, you know, within their strategy.
Yeah.
That's been like something I've really been studying and focusing, and now I've been recording a lot more videos speaking about specific topics that I'm going to be releasing. But the travel content is that's just me. I've been blessed to be able to travel at a young age. I played soccer my whole life, so just seeing the world, taking pictures, you know, in different countries of different people, I think that's just something that like I'll do that for free.
Yeah.
So the fact that I've been able to do it, get paid for certain shoots, and that's what I'm most passionate about, is any project that allows me to show unique perspectives that people here in our area have probably never experienced.
It's true. A lot of people have not gone to Haiti and seen that side of the world and that culture. And, you know, that's what excites me, is when you are able to communicate and convey new perspectives and new point of views and new realities to people that otherwise have not experienced that.
You hit the nail on the head.
You know?
It's the new realities, because the flight to Haiti is 2 hours from Miami. But once you get there, you're like, yo, I'm in a whole different world.
A whole new world, dude.
A whole new world. And you realize how powerful the media is.
Yeah.
You realize that what we watch and consume does have an effect of how we perceive the world, perceive the things around us.
Yeah.
So in Haiti, it was like, I'm not even, like, America doesn't even exist anymore.
Yeah.
And like,
it's crazy.
It was actually very refreshing. It was just like, okay, wait, nothing really even matters. Like the clothes I put on, like the whole like materialism, none of those things matter when I was there. And then you come back. When I got back to Miami, it was like the whole energy was like back to like, all right,
back as a guy in a Gucci shoes,
like,
you know, walk in, chains, fucking news is on about whatever the fuck's going on. Back to fucking America, where like I feel like we become so desensitized to like real life, dude. Like we don't live in real life in America. We live in this world of people that have created like what we think are real problems, you know, and what we think are real problems, real goals, real whatever. And then it's like when you take that away, you go to somewhere like Haiti. I've never been, but I can understand, and it's helped me understand watching content like yours, for example. It's just like, that's real life, man. That's real life. What you're told on the TV, the everyday problems, you know, like, not to get political and all this kind of shit, but like all these fucking problems are just nothing. When you're out in Haiti, you don't have water to drink.
So, okay, so that's the thing, is I would say just like one thing that I really took from that experience was, so there's a guy we stayed with. He built his own house high up in the mountains. No running water. We had to throw a bucket down and pull the water up. like to put the water in a bucket, and that's how we showered. And
That's crazy.
It was cool though, just to live like, okay, this is how people used to live.
Yeah.
And
that's how people are still living.
exactly, people
Yeah.
are still living that way. And when you drive through the neighborhood, there's different houses, and the guy that was with us was like, oh yeah, we have a cow and a couple goats, and he was like, oh, the cow is worth this much money and the goat is worth this much money, and how like money is a whole different concept there
Yeah.
too. It's like things of value are money,
Mm-hmm.
and you realize like, okay, it's not just this paper we're trading or exchanging.
It's not monetary value. There's all different kinds of exchange.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I was so happy. Like one of the nights in Haiti, I just like had tears coming down my eyes because it was like the first like if you ever took shrooms or anything like that, you know that connect to nature type of feeling.
Yeah.
It was that feeling, but it was like natural. Like it wasn't without any
That's crazy.
drugs, shrooms, none of that. It was just like, wow, like so this is what it feels like to really be connected to nature.
Mm-hmm.
And I just felt super happy and amazing. And a month later, I get an opportunity to work with Antonio Brown, and I'm on his private jet, and everyone's texting me like, yo, congrats, you're living your best life. But I was more happy when I was in the
Isn't that crazy?
forest than when I was, people are like, oh,
Wow.
celebrating me because I was working with a pro athlete. But the real victory to me was like in Haiti, filming and having that experience. And
Yeah.
I think that more people need to have that, so I want to bring that out through my content.
That's beautiful, dude. I can't agree more. It's crazy. Like it's just that's people's perception of happiness until they realize that that is not what makes you happy. And it might make some people happy, and that's totally fine. And other people might not even realize that going and experiencing nature like you did would make them happy until they go and do it, and they're like, holy shit, what is this?
Exactly.
You know?
And not to like hate on materialism, because having nice things is amazing.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
shit, everyone wants a nice car, nice house. That's awesome. My thing is like just realize there are more perspectives and there's more out there, and I think everyone should be
Exactly.
try to travel when you can.
Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with materialism. You want a nice watch, a nice house, you want nicer
Facts.
things
Hell
in
yeah.
life, you want great experiences. That's awesome. But what's even more valuable to me than that is when you have perspective. It's when you have perspective on the real world, it makes those things that you have that are nice even more valuable to you. Because like, yeah,
so
whatever, I
true.
got a cool watch, it cost me a lot, I worked hard for it. And when you add perspective to it, then you're like, wow, like, you know, there's people out there that just don't have shit. They don't have a pot to piss in, they don't have fucking water to clean themselves. And I'm one of those people on this planet that has the opportunity to have a nice watch. Like, you know, and not a lot of people are aware enough to realize those kind of things, but if you have the opportunity to become aware like that and just have a different perception on life, man, it's so important,
I agree.
you know?
I agree 100%.
And I think
Says-
even times in life when you're feeling complacent with what you have or unsatisfied or you're becoming bored and monotonous and you have maybe so much that you just it's losing its value to you, is like sometimes you need to take a step back and go somewhere and get some perspective.
Yeah.
And it'll quickly make you realize, like, thank God I have what I have. You know, it's been like
true.
that for me,
So
man.
true.
You maybe lose something, you go somewhere where you don't have it anymore, or you take a step back and you're just like, holy shit. You know?
That's the experience I had, and it was so good. I went back like a year and a half later or 2 years later to the same place.
Yeah.
Had an amazing experience, and so like those elements, I like to incorporate that into my work, and you know, share those stories with clients that I work with, and I think that's something that just makes me stand out a little bit.
Totally.
I just want to keep implementing that and trying to bring that more into the corporate realm, and
Which you should, man, because that's what's going to make you even more unique and stand out, is when you incorporate these things that no one else has maybe the balls to, no one else thinks of, like, is just doing exactly that. You know, finding your image, your brand as a person, and what you bring to the table that no one else does.
So then a question for you, what's your best advice for a filmmaker or someone in this creative field that's trying to obviously make great work, but have a successful business? Because everyone wants a studio, everyone
Yeah.
wants to be able to like have those things. You know what I mean?
First question is, you got to ask yourself, do you really want it? Because it's not easy ever to incorporate business with passion. If you want to be a filmmaker and you want to own a business, run a business, you are like cursing yourself for eternity, because finding the balance between the two and not losing sight of one of them is incredibly hard. That's the biggest thing I struggle with. So you got to really ask yourself, do you want that? Do you want that? Do you want it bad enough that you're willing to sacrifice a lot to be in that position? If you are, you have to 100% dedicate yourself to knowing and understanding and close to mastering almost every different hat and level and department there is in whatever it is that you want to do. Like my buddy Cameron Miller said, is a good director is the person that is a good grip, good gaffer, a good camera op, a good production assistant, a good wardrobe. Like they understand everything that it takes to make something happen. You really have to do that. So one, ask yourself that question. Are you willing to curse yourself to pursue and achieve what you want in life? If you are, you have to really come close to mastering everything in your craft. And then thirdly, you have to be smart. There's no way around it. If you're not smart and you can't figure out how to run a business, how to keep clients, how to market yourself, how to really find out who you are as a brand, how to bring value to people, like you have to figure that stuff out. Some people have it, some people don't, but and balance. Like that's it, man. You have to master and learn as much as you can, and then you have to find balance throughout everything, and that's it, you know.
How did you get the majority of your clients? Was it just from word of mouth networking, or
yeah,
work? Or?
I mean, we've never done a lot of paid advertising until now. In the beginning, it was really just creating that hype, that brand. Like, who is Motion State Media? Who is this new studio?
That video I love where you spoke about like what you guys do, the process to take the client on. I thought that was super valuable.
Yeah, and people love that stuff, man. People love to understand what they don't know. So that's what we did, man. I spent a lot of time just figuring out how are we going to treat clients, how are we going to make impressions, how are we going to have them come back, how are we going to have them refer us, how is word of mouth going to happen. That shit doesn't happen by chance. It happens by having an exact plan in place how to treat your clients so that they will do that, and you're more susceptible to having organic kind of work come in that's not paid for. So yeah, I mean, I just say our structure, our infrastructure, and how we treat our clients has always been my biggest key to getting work. You know, our retention rate is extremely high. Our referral rate is extremely high. A lot of our clients are referrals, word of mouth. And it's a good amount from paid advertising. You've got to have great branding, and you got to have a good website, and obviously a good portfolio. That's all important. But it's such a bigger picture, man, than having a great demo reel, having a good camera, and being good. Like that's not it. There's layers, man. And I'm 8 years into having a business, and I'm nowhere near our final form of like where we're going to be and what we're going to know.
Have you had like investors want to come in?
Absolutely, yeah. I tell them no.
Even at there's no price.
There's no price, man. You cannot put a price on my creative freedom. You know, I could have somebody come in, and somebody wanted to buy Motion State Media for 1.3 million a few years ago, and I thought about it, and they're like, you would remain a CEO, you could continue to do exactly what you do. And I thought about it for 10 seconds. I was like, fuck no, dude. Like, fuck it. Like, absolutely not. Like, I'm not selling something that I have built from the ground up. And I can be out here and I can maybe still write the scripts and do this and that. But like, if you take away my creative ability and freedom to determine where we go with this company, it's not worth any money in the world.
Yeah.
You know, so
I feel that.
That's what it is, man. I'd rather suffer on up to wherever we want to be, as long as I'm staying true to the vision that I have. You know?
I love that. For me, the creative freedom is so valuable. Like, there was a company that wanted to work with me. Shit, it was actually, in Tampa.
Yeah. We just shot there, actually.
They last year they were looking for someone in-house because they just built a studio with a psych wall, and they wanted me to be like that guy to do all their video content. And it was a great. They're like, oh, we'll pay you $8,000 a month, but we want to have a part of Canvas Media, and 70. We want 30% of all sales, and you have 70%. And to anyone else, like to my parents, it looks good. Like, that's great, consistent money. But for me, it was the freedom to be able to do what I wanted to do when I wanted to do it, traveling, and I knew, okay, I would be locked into being in like one location all the time, and that was just not fulfilling to me because I've been down that road. It sounds good on paper, but a month in, you're like, shit. Like,
what did I do?
Yeah.
To me, you can never put a price on your integrity, man. Like, my integrity and what I believe in is always going to be more important than whatever people are going to pay me. 100%. The second you lose your values and in your integrity as a person, as a brand, to take a job that pays a lot of money and maybe alleviate your stress of having to pay the bills, like, you've lost. You know, I've been in those positions, and it's a losing game.
Yeah,
you know,
I agree.
100%. But that's a problem. Not a lot of people don't see it that way. A lot of people, their goal is to make money. Their goal is to get out of debt. Their goal is to make whatever they have to do to pay their fucking bills, and that comes at a cost. And that's a lot of the time it doesn't work out when you have to sacrifice your integrity. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I
that's
feel
a good
like.
point.
So I mean, good on you, because I've been in that shoes too. I've had clients. It was one client that wanted to pay us a lot of money each month. They were like a marketing agency, and they're outsourcing their video work, and they wanted us to come in and essentially build up their whole video department for their clients, which is fine. A lot of people do that, but they want to white label us. And I'm like, fuck that, dude. Like, I'm not coming in to white label and my brand I built. I'm not going to pretend to be your brand for your clients.
Facts. Yeah,
Build up
like,
an
what?
amazing repertoire that you and reputation you're going to have because we're making your videos just for us to not be a recognized brand, and then you can ditch us, and then now
Right.
people think that this is who you are. I was like, fuck that, dude. And I told him, I said, listen, I'm not going to be white labeled. We're going to be acknowledged as the brand we are, and we'll absolutely do it. And the guy got super upset. And I'm like, well, what do you expect, man? You think I'm dumb? You think I'm going to take some stupid deal? And a lot of people will do that. If their brand and their vision is not important to them, they'll 100% take that deal. I know a lot of people that take that deal without, you know, hesitation, but it's just like, dude, that's not
Yeah.
what I want to do.
Yeah, I agree. It's
You know?
like but like it's good to have those moments happen. Like that just means
For
that you're
sure.
elevating. People value your work, and
Yeah.
once you realize that, like, damn, if people want a piece of my stuff, like, shit, maybe I'm more valuable than I think I am.
100%. And you have to get in those tough situations and learn from it, because if you don't get in those tough situations, you might make the wrong decision later. You know, I think you just need to get in as many tough situations as possible early on,
I like that.
so you can just know what not to do and what to look out for. 100%. You got to live and learn. That's the best way to approach this whole industry.
You're right.
You know.
Facts.
Okay,
Shit,
dude.
that
I
was
think we got to
dope.
wrap this
Yeah.
up, man. That was fire.
Yeah. That was dope.
Good shit.